All right, welcome back to another video. Today we're going to look at how to build trust in sales. We have the trust pyramid here, and the first step is pretty basic. You probably heard this word before, but I'm going to go over these different 4 steps here with you, and hopefully you'll find something in this video that maybe you haven't heard of a certain way before. And obviously, to start, it's rapport, right? But I don't think rapport is built when you just find things in common with people and discuss the weather or sports. That does help. It could be a good first impression. But I think rapport is really built when there's an equal exchange of talking and sharing. So both people are engaged in the conversation. I believe rapport is a process of engagement. I think back to when I was in high school, I used to play ping pong in my basement at my parents' house, and ping pong back and forth. You hit it, I hit it. You hit it, I hit it. So with rapport, either we're in rapport, it's in or out. There's not really, I believe, much gray area, because all of us have been with somebody in a conversation and they've been talking maybe for a minute or 2 minutes straight, and you're just thinking in your head, like, please, like, let me share, let me chime in, let me talk. And they keep going on and on and on. They are not in rapport with you because it's not back and forth. It's not like a ping pong or a heartbeat. So what we want to do with rapport is we want to just be aware of ourselves. Like, how much are we talking? Are we pausing? Are we slowing down? Are we letting the other person chime in? That's rapport. And when you kind of have a nice, even conversation, and also with rapport, it's basically, it's going to be like, you have to see it as you don't have to be rambling and sharing about your company so much, or your product, or you were founded this year and you've been around for this long period of time and all these things. It's not like you have to do all that extra sharing in the beginning. We want to have the other person be sharing, right? We want to have them open up. We want to ask good questions. So rapport is really just the fundamental, going back and forth. And what can happen is that if we're out of rapport, obviously the whole rest of the conversation is going to be derailed. All right, so that's the first one, rapport. Number 2 is integrity. And there's a couple parts to this integrity. All these 4 areas do overlap a bit, but integrity is doing what's best for the client or the prospect, but also showing them that we want what's best for them. We genuinely want to serve them, help them, teach them something, or guide them in the right direction. Because if we force somebody into a sale when we know in our heart it's not the best fit for them, that's what I call like bad sales karma. So we don't want bad sales karma. And what we can do in the beginning of a conversation is we can just be honest with the person. We should always be honest, of course, but we can just tell them straight up, listen, it's great to meet with you today. What I want to do is I want to understand a little bit more about your company or what you're currently doing right now, B2B, B2B or B2C, whatever. You want to understand more about them. And if it could be a good fit for my service or product to help you, I will definitely show you how we help people like yourself. If we're not a good fit, I want to try to help you and point you in a better direction. And maybe somebody in my network could possibly, serve you better than we can. How does that sound? So you're showing them with your language that you're not biased. You genuinely want to see like what the best options for them. And that often causes people to just take a deep breath and like relax, because so many people will jump on a sales call with a sales rep, and the sales rep will say, listen, like in this call, either you're gonna give me a yes or give me a no. And they just have this totally opposite approach a lot of times, which creates more pressure. So, and this should just be natural, because like we don't want to force someone to buy something that's not going to even help them. Like we should want in our hearts to actually find what's best for the prospect or the client. And this is an example of integrity, but it's also just helping them to feel safe, right? So this could be integrity, this could be creating safety. Obviously, this whole thing is trust. But I've seen a lot of different managers and different people in sales that they don't really understand that we create this integrity and this trust and the safety. We create it through our language, through the words that we say, of course, but then how we say the words, our energy behind the words. And there's a lot of things we can do, especially in the beginning of a conversation, to just show the person that we are doing our best to be in integrity and do what's best for them. So with integrity, we just kind of want, this is over here, we want what's best for them no matter what. That's really sloppy. What's best for them. And they're not going to know this unless we tell it to them, right? Early on in the engagement. The other part of this is basically just kind of goes into part 3 here, which I'm just going to kind of go through this fast for you guys. I don't want to have this be a really long video. The third part of the pyramid is deeper connection. So once we have the back and forth rapport, either we're in rapport or we're not, or we're out of rapport. And it's like ping pong, right? We have the ping pong going on. We're in integrity and we're showing the person early on that we want to try to find out what's best for them. And we also can kind of sell the exit. We can say things to take the pressure off, to make the prospect understand that they don't have to decide right now. And we do this with our language to create the drop in the pressure and to have them relax their shoulders and their guard, right? Now, the third part is deeper connection. And deeper connection is really just, when we're in a conversation, we want to be aware and kind of be searching while we're talking with the person. We want to find out what they really care about. Sometimes it might be obvious. It might be like a business problem, or they really care about their profitability, or they care about their metrics, their conversions, or their numbers. But a lot of the times it's deeper, and it can be emotional. I remember when I was doing business consulting about a year and a half ago, and I thought that I was always going to go into a client, I was going to help them with their P&L and their numbers, which was obviously a big part of the job. I was doing business turnaround consulting, but I didn't have this idea that it actually, a lot of the time, there was a deeper issue, and there was a deeper reason for them hiring the consultants. A lot of the times it was an emotional thing. It was there's sometimes where there's a family that ran the business, and the owner was like the husband, and then the daughter was helping out, or the wife was helping out, and there was this big family clash. So kind of a tangent there, but we have to look deeper at the person. We have to be able to kind of use our intuition and kind of sense, like, what does this person really care about? And we can ask questions around that and go into it. Along with this is teaching. And just while I was talking about that previous job I had where I was traveling, doing consulting all around the country, I got to watch one of the best, it was the best sales. He was called a project manager, but he was essentially the best salesperson in the whole company. And I got to watch him for a day in Boise, Idaho. And what he did was he walked into the client. He did this, right? He had the back and forth conversation, the ping pong. He was in integrity because he was trying to understand, like, here he saw the P&L and everything, but he wanted to understand, like, what is kind of the best outcome for them. He asked a lot of questions. And then he literally just actually had a similar Post-it note with Sharpies, and he just taught the client for literally about 3 hours, going over break-even points, going over how to find your break-even point, but like cash flow and understanding what happens with taxes and all these different things with business that the owner of the company didn't fully understand. So he literally just created a deep connection with the prospect by teaching. And this was so cool to me because I always thought in sales, like before this, that you had to have all these different techniques and you had to like trick people and do all these things, but he literally just taught the client for hours. And that can also create a deeper connection as well. So what we want to do is we just want to be aware of, really it comes down to this deeper connection, because we're going to have, if we do the rapport and we do the integrity piece in the beginning of the conversation, we're going to have a connection with the client or the prospect for sure. But how deep is it going to be? Are we really getting to the root cause of their problem or their challenge? And a lot of this would be limiting beliefs. If it's B2C, the prospect might have limiting beliefs. They might have blocks. They might have been through past traumas with business traumas, or they might have bought a coaching package before and they got let down by it. So now they're not going to buy from you, or they're scared because they don't want it to happen again. So we have to dig deep into the emotions. So this is number 3, deeper connection. I'm just going to put emotional connection. And this is where, like, when we're having the conversation, we want to try to see, like, what do they care about the most? We don't want to share about our features and our benefits and all about us, our business, unless we know that it's going to apply to the deeper connection that we're forming with them. So we don't want to just ramble off. Been on for 40 years. We have this much in revenue, because they don't care. The person doesn't really care about us unless it directly applies to their problem. So emotional connection and teaching, maybe teaching about the market, teaching about what we're seeing right now in the industry, what the trends are, what people are similar to you, or what we're seeing from our similar clients that are similar to you. So we just want to basically dig deeper and understand that everyone has emotions. And a lot of people in sales are just very logical, talking about numbers. And I love numbers. I went to school for numbers. But there's more to humans than just logical thinking and just numbers and saving money or making money. We have to often dig a little bit deeper. All right. How much time I got? I'm making good time here. So number 4, the last part, and this is kind of like the cherry on top. This will be the icing. This will be the cake, the base icing. This is the cherry on top. Because in sales, and I've seen this in my own career as I've worked on myself. I've been meditating daily for like 7-8 years. I do a lot of journaling. I do a lot of self-reflection. I work on myself a lot, read books, trying to be the best I can be. And as I've improved with my speaking, and I've improved with just my ability, I guess, to have, to discuss things with people, have conversations with people, I've seen this happen more and more. Is like sales, of course, is a transfer of energy. And I believe the more you work on yourself, especially like we discussed with the emotions, and we self-reflect, we go within ourselves, we begin to feel better on average, like within us. Like I think over the last 8 years, where I'm at now versus 8 years ago, I feel on average, like every day, a lot better emotionally right now. And in sales, like when you're having a lot of conversations with people, you're meeting a lot of people, you're transferring how you feel onto them. Like whatever you're selling, you could be selling a service or a product or whatever. But aside from like what you're actually selling to them, you're also giving them your energy in a sense. Like you're having a conversation. Maybe you have, if it's B2B, maybe you have like 3, 4, 5 meetings. Takes months, perhaps even maybe a year or two. Some big deals, and it's a transfer of energy. So aside from the rapport, the integrity, and the deeper connection, there's also a transfer of energy. And this is where, like, when someone leaves, if you have a meeting with somebody and they leave and they walk away from the meeting, this is when they think like, man, I really like that person. I don't really know why, but I really like them. And it's because you've been doing like the inner work, you've been working on yourself. And there's a whole scale of consciousness, which I'm really passionate about, because if you just understand the scale of consciousness and the scale of emotions, and you just work every single day for a few minutes, like you meditate, you journal, you try to understand like your own emotions better, you can release these lower emotions like anxiety and shame and guilt, and they'll come back here and there, but I'm talking about on average. You can release these lower emotions that all of us experience, right? They're all just human emotions. They're just, there they are, but we can release them, and we can on average feel better. And that's where people will tell you like, man, you're so charismatic, or you're so, I love talking to you. Like you light me up, you give me energy. It's because like we're overflowing with energy basically. So what we want to do is we want to understand that it's a transfer of emotions. And we just want to kind of be aware of like how we're feeling, because if we go into a meeting with somebody, we can do all these steps, but let's say like even this morning, right? Just this morning, I had my son was going crazy. He's 1.5 years. I have a toddler. His name's Miko, and today was just like, this morning was just nuts. Like he's just screaming, crying, needs to be held all the time. So I kind of like started this video off. I was a little bit shaky because like my energy was a little bit off. So I don't know if you felt that or not in the beginning of this video, but I feel like better now. I'm in this flow state. But like just being aware of our energy and understanding that that's kind of like the cherry on top, is that people want to do business with people that they like, that they enjoy, that they admire, they want to be like, but also it's just like they want to feel better. Making people feel better in sales goes a long way. And I'm not just saying like surface level compliments, but just like having good energy, being confident in yourself, doing the emotional work like I shared about, and just understanding that like the prospect, they want to be led, right? People want to lead, or people want to be led by people who can lead them better than they can lead themselves. So this is kind of just like the bonus, or the top of the pyramid is the energy transfer. It's just being aware of like our mood and our emotions, they rub off on other people. And they say that everyone that you come in contact with, they're either gonna slightly, or maybe even more than slightly, but they're gonna either make you feel better or make you feel worse. And all of us have been around people, I'm sure you've been around somebody where you talk to somebody maybe for 5 or 10 minutes and you like ended the conversation, you left them and you went back home, or you like left the room or whatever, and you felt drained a little bit. Maybe you felt burned out, you felt like sluggish, you felt like dirty, or like need to go take a shower. Well, maybe that's probably because maybe their energy wasn't so great, and we can't like see the energy exchange, but when we're having a chat with somebody, like we're exchanging energy, where the words are exchanging, the frequencies in the air, like we can't, this is getting a little bit esoteric, but just the energy is real, but we can't see it. Okay, so being aware of that. Last thing with this too is we can have little rituals, little things to do that can kind of like anchor in our energy state. So some people, when they do like sales calls, they might have like a little thing they do, like a little ritual real fast. Maybe it's like a essential oil they sniff or something, or it's like they have like a little a keychain, or just you can kind of create your own way of locking into a certain state, and this will help with the energy as well. It'll help you kind of like it'll teach your brain and teach your mind that like whenever you do a certain thing, it's going to wire in that this state's going to be happening next. So that's kind of a little bit, I guess, advanced, but I'm sure athletes do it too. Like you see athletes have different rituals. They put their left glove on before the right glove, and they have all these kind of like superstitions, which if they believe it's true, it can be true, right? Just ways that you can improve your energy. And like I said, people will always feel how you feel about yourself. Might be subconscious, might not be fully aware of it, but people are going to always feel how you feel about yourself. If you feel confident, if you know your industry, or you know your service or your product, and you just know yourself as well, like you have certainty in who you are, you know why you're on this planet, then people can feel that, and it's very powerful. So if this gave you any value at all, I do have a totally free sales training, conscious sales training, down below in the description of this video, and I go through this and a lot more, kind of just give you my entire process about how I've worked on myself in sales and business over the last 8 years. You can just steal the information and just take it and run with it. And I also have a one-to-one coaching program for this as well. So thanks for watching. Have a great day, and I will see you next time. Take care.